Well, guys, after that, I can only say two things. One, you can never predict what's gonna happen in the originals. And two, shit is definitely about to go down. Hey guys, Kevin Rudd for the originals, Season 3, Episode 17, Behind the Black Horizon, and damn was this a good episode. First of all, I want to apologize for anything I said about the originals in Episode 15, that, they were slowing things down or they weren't getting things moving. No, this episode was exactly like that. They're definitely getting things moving. Things are definitely starting to happen, and we're definitely getting closer to that finale. You can tell that things are starting to, pieces are starting to get into play. You can start to realize who is on what side. Vincent finally picked a side in this episode. Everything I pretty much wanted, was in this episode. I absolutely loved this episode. It was, thrilling. It was very sad. It was funny at point. Not really funny. There really wasn't any humor in this, but I really love this episode. Amazing stuff. By far one of my favorite episodes this season. I don't know if it was my favorite, but it definitely was one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite this season. I don't know. But let's just get into this episode because it was incredible, and I can't wait for next week's episode. After this episode, things were just incredible. And like I said, you can never predict what's going to happen on this show. So we start off, we see Lucien and Vincent are leading Freya through the forest. As we know, Lucien kidnapped Freya, and Freya says after all of his flirtation, this is his idea of a first date, which I kind of like the banter that Freya was trying to do, just like how she was trying to make light of the situation. You can tell she's just trying to make light of the situation by, having humor, just so she can kind of calm herself down, and Vincent believes that the ancestors must have lost their minds to let Lucien carry out the plan, because yeah, that really is what's going on. I mean, they had no idea that Lucien was doing all this. I mean, as we know, last week, it was revealed that Lucien has pretty much been in the forefront with everything. He has controlled everything. He has made every decision. Everything that has happened has been because of Lucien, and I love that twist. I thought it was very well done. And it could have come across as really contrived or really silly, but it just really, really worked in this episode, I have to say. I mean, that's just something that worked very well. And Lucien himself, the actor that plays him, is very menacing and very creepy as well. He definitely did a very good job. He promised the ancestors a world without the originals, and Vincent waits to know where they are. Lucien welcomes them to Mystic Falls, a place where the originals were created. He intends on replicating the spell to become an original, this is interesting, because now we really know what Lucien wants. It's not so much just that he wants to wipe out all the originals, that he himself wants to become an original, so that way, he can never die. That way, anyone in his sire line that kills him, they'll die as well. That kind of thing. And definitely very interesting the way it's playing out. However, he wants to be upgraded, and he tells her he needs something more intimate for her, and takes a bite out of Freya. Really crazy, but I like that just in those short few minutes, we already know what Lucien's goal is. We know what he wants to do. We know what his goal is, and that is great because every villain needs some sort of motivation, and that is his motivation. Everything else we've had with Lucien this season, it makes sense as to, why he wants to be an original. So I really like the way that was done. Cole and Davina then arrive at the bar, and they feel that Vincent has abandoned him, or at least Cole does, because they don't know where Vincent's gone, and Davina notices something wrong, and questions as to why Vincent would want to meet someplace where he can't do magic, because obviously Vincent wants to do magic and he can't do magic there, so why would he want to meet up there? So she notices a tarot card, and in it is a warning, and she shows Cole the cell phone accompanying the card. There's a message from Vincent saying that magic is their enemy, and it doesn't sound like Vincent. She doesn't understand. He's asking for Davina's help to keep Freya alive. He tells them that Lucien is taking them somewhere, but he doesn't know where, and you can tell that he definitely needs her to rescue them, but at the same time, you don't know if Lucien actually wrote this or if Lucien did, because, some of it just doesn't sound like Vincent, but right away, Davina knows that they need to save him, and I definitely really love that, and I love that there was no really playing around this episode. Like, things got done in this episode, and I definitely love that. Later on, Cole plays a message for Finn and Elijah, and Vincent wants to find a thread between Finn and him, and Elijah calls upon Davina for help, and Finn says that she should have known when Freya didn't respond, and I love that finally Davina is starting to get involved in the main plot, because it's not that she's felt separate from everything else, but it feels more like Davina was setting up things, while now it feels like Davina really is starting to get involved with the main plot, and everything really is starting to connect, because, the originals is a show where different things go on, and different alliances are made, different plots are happening, but this episode, everything really connected to one plot, and that was Lucien, and you very much saw that here, and he tells Davina to do the spell. Cole is pissed off that Finn is ready to jump the gun, and when Elijah says he will accompany Finn, Cole's even more upset, because why would he just want to accompany Finn? Obviously, we know that Cole doesn't trust Finn, because of course Finn killed him, and because of that, he just can't trust Finn at all, and he doesn't understand why Elijah wants Finn, but as we know, Finn wants to become a witch. That was Finn's goal. That's why he was brought back, and this is how he can prove himself that he's worthy to them by helping them out with this. Because if he helps them out, he can be a good ally to them, and then they can trust him. And I can really see what Elijah's trying to do. He doesn't just want to kill Finn, which is clearly what Cole wants to do. Cole's very on edge. He has this grudge against Finn. We know that. Elijah really wants Finn to prove himself, to show that he can do, that's to show that he can be worthy of joining them, and I definitely like seeing that. You don't just need to kill someone, you need to really think it over first. So Davina calms him down, tells him she needs his help to do the spell, and that, Cole can really help her with that. And I do like the bonding that Davina and Cole have. She really kind of seems to be the thing that calms him down, and I really do enjoy that. I mean, the bonding between them at first, it felt a little forced, but it's really been working over these past 2 episodes, and I've definitely really been enjoying it. So Elijah and Finn are still tense with each other, however, they have to work together. And even though, they are very tense and they don't really want to talk to each other, because obviously, like I've said before, I don't think they'll ever 100%, be able to forgive Finn. Just after all he's done, everything that's happened, it's going to be, the chances of forgiving him completely are very, very slim just because of all he's done. All he's done, everything that's happened, I mean, I don't think it's going to be possible for them just to forgive him. Even though I think they want to, I don't think that they can, just because of everything he's done. He needs to prove himself, and then they can. But even though things are really intense, they still need to work together to save Freya, because they both want the same thing. Obviously, Finn doesn't want Freya to be in danger, and neither does Elijah, and you definitely see that here, which I've really liked. And this is when I love the originals. Even when the family is fighting, they still need to, when push comes to shove, they need to do something to save each other, and they will save each other no matter what it takes, and I definitely love seeing that. So Klaus receives a call from Elijah. He briefs Haley on the situation, and I love seeing Klaus and Haley work together. Like I said, I like that they came to a common ground in the last episode, and that made things a lot different here. You could definitely see that they understand each other more. Haley says that he can go, but Klaus decides to have them work together to figure out what the wolves have to do with it all, because clearly the wolves fit into it. I mean, there has to be a reason why the wolf hunting's still going on. We don't know why, but obviously there's a reason why, and Klaus is determined to figure that out. And again, that's something else I loved, is Klaus's determination, not just for his family, but also for Haley. He's doing it for the wolves in general, all the wolves that Haley wants to save. He knows they're being hunted, and he doesn't really understand why, and there has to be a reason. Now, I was thinking this just spells Lucien all over it, but Lucien's then getting done with draining Freya's blood. Vincent tries to help her, but Lucien says there's a spell to do and orders Vincent over. He tells him that this part of is all him, and Vincent is handed the spell that creates an original, and of course that would make sense why he need Vincent, because Vincent can create a spell to make originals, and Vincent refuses to complete the spell, but the ancestors convince him otherwise, because basically, they make him feel that, he'll get something out of it, and again, Vincent doesn't really want to do it, but they're basically manipulating him into doing it, and we will get into something that I really loved about this scene a little later on, but there's something about the scene in particular that I absolutely loved. But Davina then tells Cole that his brothers need to go to North Virginia, and Cole realized that they were born in North Virginia, Mystic Falls to be exact, and of course, yeah, we know that a lot of them are from Mystic Falls, it's where they started out, and Cole becomes frustrated, tells Davina that they need more. Cole says that he needs a relic that Cammy has, and Davina tells him if he can't behave, she will get it. He agrees to go with her, and basically you can tell that they need to get this relic, and I was thinking that they were going to go to Mystic Falls, but they don't actually go there in this episode, but I do think it's kind of setting up that maybe there'll be another crossover. I know that Matt and I believe Cole or Finn, they're supposed to meet up at some point, so that's going to be interesting. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but whenever that happens, that should definitely be interesting. Let's see what happens with that. But basically, he tells him that this part is all him. Vincent's handed the spell that creates an... Oh, I just read this. So basically, we don't see Cammy in this episode, by the way. We're going to see her next week, but we didn't see her again, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with them taking a break from Cammy. Things are really crazy with her. We need to take a little break from that because of Finn and Cole and everything. He agrees to go with her. Meanwhile, Freya lectures Lucien about becoming an original, because I like that she's telling him, look, being an original is not all that it's cracked up to be. You can't die. You have to suffer. You have to, basically protect everyone in your sire line. Anyone in your sire line can kill you. I mean, it's not the best thing, because you have to go, you go into different bodies. I mean, there are a lot of things that they don't like about becoming original. You know, you don't age, things like that. And of course, you know, Lucian doesn't age anyway, but he says this does not happen overnight. He says when he lost his love because of the Michelsons, he vowed to become better. And of course, we know that his love is Aurora. That's who he's in love with. That's who he want to be in love with. And we know that Klaus stole her from him. And I knew eventually this would become crucial because they brought it up in episode 2. It never seemed like, well, you could always tell that rage was in Lucian, but it's definitely starting to come out now. Like, that definitely is one of the main reasons why he holds such a vengeance against Klaus, why he wants to take him out, mainly because of Aurora, because, you know, Aurora liked Klaus, and, you know, he likes Aurora, he wants to be with her, and we've always known that Lucien and Aurora seem to have had this plan on their own. You definitely start to see that here, and Lucien is the living embodiment of the prophecy. His rise will be the downfall of the Michelsons, and he's convinced that he will finally cause the downfall, and of course, we know the prophecy, we know exactly, you know, since the beginning we've known they will all fall. Every episode begins with us hearing that prophecy from Freya, just to remind us that that is at some point going to happen. And if Lucien really can do that, I mean, that would make sense why the prophecy is going to happen. And of course, we've known that everything that's happened this season has lived from that prophecy. That prophecy is what started this season, that's what got us where we are, and ever since then, they've all been terrified of the prophecy, and it's definitely going to happen at some point. We don't know when it's going to happen, but Lucien is probably going to be the main reason for that happening. And Lucien, you can already tell, is probably going to be one of the hardest people to take out. I mean, you even see at the end of this episode, which I'll get into, that he can't be killed, really. He can't be killed. We'll get into that, though. But Finn and Elijah are walking around feeling strange about being in Mystic Falls because they're not used to being here. They haven't been here in a while. Obviously, you know, Klaus was there once, but besides Klaus, no one's been to Mystic Falls in the longest time, and that's kind of something I was wondering if we were going to get a crossover here, but we didn't. Elijah brings up the first time that they fled from Mystic Falls. The memory turns into an argument where Elijah blames Finn for poisoning his siblings and threatening their survival, and I like that Elijah actually called out Finn for this, because yeah, that is mainly the problem, that he did poison their siblings, he did, you know, turn against them, and he allied with their mother, and obviously this is something that Elijah can't forgive him for, and Finn says that he was made that way because of the box that he was locked in. He says he came out mad and remained so, and there really was nothing they could do about it, even though they wanted to, even though, you know, I don't think Finn necessarily wanted to be that way. He was that way just because of the way things turned out, and obviously Elijah can't forgive him for that. So Klaus and Haley arrive at yet another Kingsman land development. He says that they will continue together, and basically, obviously these Kingsman land developments, they are the reason for the wolf hunts and everything, and they're going to try to find out what's going on. You know, obviously they need to be very careful with the way they get information, but they need to try to figure out what's going on there. So Finn refuses to let his sister be killed in Mystic Falls, decides he wants to tear the town apart. However, Matt overhears him, tells him that's not going to happen since he ran every vampire out of town, and we do see Matt, who once again is acting just like a hard ass. I just don't understand. I mean, we know that Matt doesn't want vampires there and he holds this grudge against them, but I can understand Finn. I mean, obviously Finn, you can understand why Matt doesn't want him there, because I believe that Matt is the one that killed Finn. If you guys remember, when Finn was originally in Mystic Falls, Matt was actually the one that killed him, so it did actually, you know, provide something, but I will admit that Matt didn't really do anything, and I knew that Matt was going to be in this episode once they went to Mystic Falls, because I heard them say that what was going to happen is that Matt and Finn were going to meet up, but they made it seem like it was going to be much bigger than it was, and it was really only one scene, but it was enough for, well, actually, we did get one other thing, but it really wasn't too much. We do see some things with Matt, and I do think it was cool that we saw him, but he definitely was still kind of a hard ass, and you definitely did see that, but here I thought it worked more, just because, like I said, he was the one that killed Finn. It made sense why he didn't want Finn there, and like I said, you know, it makes sense why he holds a grudge against Finn than he does against Stefan. Stefan, it just feels like there's stuff we haven't seen and it's not as effective. So Vincent's completing the spell and collapses, and it's really hard for him to do. You can tell this is something that he hasn't done. I mean, we've known that Vincent is dying and that he's running out of magic. Well, not necessarily dying, but we know that he's running out of magic and he can't really do as much as he can, and this is clearly the most he's done in a while, and, you know, he's basically being forced against his will to do this, and Lucien then fills a glass with a blood mixture from Freya, and Klaus tries to compel information from a Kingsman employee, however, it doesn't work, and she triggers an alarm, so Klaus and Haley go on a rampage, taking everyone out. Crazy scene the way that was done, but you can definitely tell that, obviously, she can tell that he definitely is behind something. You don't know exactly what she's behind, you can definitely tell that she knows something that Klaus is definitely behind, and that scene was was just crazy the way that that was done. Really crazy stuff there. Haley and Klaus then make their way to an area where wolves are being held. One of them wakes up and Haley realizes that they are still alive, and Klaus then finds a vampire in the mix and isn't sure what Lucien is up to. He doesn't know exactly what's going on, but he knows that Lucien is definitely a part of this. Now, in what capacity, we don't know, but he definitely knows that they're a part of this. So, Matt and Elijah meet again, and when the Michelsons try to walk away, Matt points a gun at them. He asks them why they're there, because obviously they don't belong in Mystic Falls. We've known that's the one thing. There are no vampires in Mystic Falls. That's been a thing for a while, and Elijah tells him about Freya's abduction, and Matt doesn't waver in the standoff and asks them how much time their sister has, because he doesn't know what's going on. I know he's just doing his job, but again, he's kind of coming across as a hard ass. But here it just worked because he's not the vampire diary. He's not exactly supposed to care. So he's kind of just supposed to be a threat in this. So it didn't matter as much to me that he was kind of a hard ass here. So basically, obviously, you do see that he does genuinely care that their sister's in danger, which I like seeing. So Cole's helping Davina with a spell by helping her concentrate and amplify a drone, and it triggers something in Finn, and he falls to the ground. We don't know exactly what happens, but you have to wonder, did Cole actually want this to happen to Finn? Did he actually want to weaken Finn? I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, yeah, maybe he did actually want to weaken him, because we've known that he's had this personal vengeance against Finn ever since Finn came back, and it wouldn't really surprise me if Cole did mean to do this to Finn. So he sees exactly where Freya's being held, and Lucian's then about to drink the mixture. Vincent tries to stop it. Vincent is stopped by the ancestors, but Lucien turns his attention to killing Freya. Finn, Matt, and Elijah arrive with Matt, who puts 2 bullets into Lucien, though, through Freya before he could kill her, and the only problem is that Lucien is already down the mixture, so there's absolutely nothing that these bullets are going to do to him. He's now down the mixture, and Elijah then rushes to his sister's side along with Finn, and they try to feed her blood to keep her alive, and crazy seeing the way this was done. I mean, you can just the way this was happening, you didn't really know what was going to happen. Genuinely crazy stuff going on. I mean, I didn't really know what the outcome of this was going to be. And Matt, of course, he wants to kill Lucien, but you can tell right away that Lucien can't be stopped. He's now an original, and he's much more powerful, and, taking original Lucien is going to be a lot harder to take out, you can definitely tell. So Klaus helps one of the wolves down from his holding and hopes to find information. Haley offers the wolf blood, but he refused at first, thinking that she was a vampire, and upon learning that Haley was a hybrid, he drinks, and the wolf didn't know that Haley was a hybrid, because as we know, she's both a vampire and a wolf. She is both things, and Klaus realized that Lucien was testing out a cure for werewolf venom, and that basically is what was going on. So Lucien was definitely involved with this whole wolf hunting situation. He wasn't necessarily there to hunt wolves, rather than he was there to keep these wolves alive and then make them take this poison. So Haley wants to know why Lucien is testing a cure. He is sure it will work, and I think it just goes to the prophecy. Remember, the prophecy is that they will all fall, and that includes Haley, as we know. One by friend, one by foe, and one by family. And I'm thinking one by family, we don't know who that is yet, but one by foe, definitely Lucien is the foe, without a doubt. And Haley is part of Klaus's family, even though she's not an original, she is still part of Klaus's family, and obviously Lucien's going to want to go after her. So Matt, Finn, and Elijah, basically, Lucien rises, and he begins to taking down Matt, Finn, Elijah. Freya wakes up, tells her brother that Lucien is taking the final step. Lucien attempts to kill Elijah, and Finn saves him. However, he's bitten by Lucien, unfortunately, and at the last moment, Finn decides to just jump in and save him. Not only was this Finn showing that he does care about his brothers, but it also showed that he is going to stay loyal, and it's also really sad, though, because finally Finn was able to prove his worth, and he was able to prove that I am on your side, and I am going to help you when push comes to shove, and basically, Finn decided to save him. He's bitten by Lucien. It's really sad. Freya saves them with a barrier spell, and Lucien decides he will wait for as long as it takes to get them. He takes off, and basically, he's done with them for now. You can definitely tell he's going to go after them again, but right now, he's done with them. So, Elijah and Freya rush to save Finn, who is suffering very badly. We don't know if he's going to make it out of this, and I was honestly surprised by how effective this really was. I mean, I've really never loved Finn as a character. I think he's been a good character. I think he was a badass in Season 2, definitely, but ever since he came back, I was kind of just like, okay, he's back. But I think they've definitely shown that he does, in fact, want to turn things around. I definitely love seeing that. The way they handled this, I thought, was very well done. I definitely really appreciated that. Very sad stuff, though, with Finn. You don't know if he's going to make it out of this, and Davina's happy that Freya's safe, but Cole's still still upset about Finn, and I like that Cole is actually upset because it seemed like Cole didn't really want Finn to live, but you can tell that he is upset because Finn did prove himself, and Davina tells him that he might be cursed. She tells him that he's not himself. He begins questioning who he's supposed to be, and Cole says he thinks it's everyone getting into his business and not knowing when to back off before disappearing, and she tests Cole's blood with what was left from behind his punch, and yeah, that's true. Cole's been a lot more angry and aggressive, and he doesn't really know what's going on, so there clearly is something more going on with Cole that we don't know. Klaus then tells Haley that Elijah wants him to go home and heal Finn, and Haley agrees. She says she will heal the wolves and do what she can before torching the place. You knew eventually they would come back home, and I like that they do come back home, because for a while this seemed like everyone was back together, and I feel like it's been a while since everyone's been back together, but it really did seem like in this episode everyone's back together minus Cammy, and you definitely felt that here. So Klaus says he won't leave. However, Haley says he needs to take a chance to make Finn an ally because they can use Finn. I mean, Finn just proved that if he lives, that he could be an ally for them, and that he will save them, and they need to use him if they need him. So Finn would be someone that they should definitely think about using. So Elijah and Freya then bring Finn back in New Orleans, and Cole arrives just mocking the situation. I mean, it's crazy. Cole seems happy that his brother will die, and Freya stands up for him. The way that Cole's actually happy about this, I mean, it's crazy. We don't know why this is happening, but you can understand why he's upset. He has no sympathy for Finn because of Finn killing him. Because of that, he can't ever forgive him. You can definitely understand. And Freya then stands up for him, and I like that Freya says, look, he saved us, and you have no idea why, and Finn even says that he will miss Cole, and it was a very sad scene, definitely. Klaus walks in just in time and is curious as to why his family is fighting, and Haley tells the wolf to warn the others, but the wolf reveals that Kingsman wanted their venom, and he says that they pumped it into the vampire and healed her over and over again. However, the last time there was something more powerful, that took her out. So obviously this is a very dangerous situation, and they don't really know how to handle this whole werewolf venom because they don't know where it is, they don't know really how to get it, and obviously it's a big problem. So Haley tells him to go, sets the building on fire. Really crazy, but basically they set on fire. So Finn is healed and thanks his brother. Everyone seems happy except for Cole, and they're happy to see, Finn thank them, and you can see that Cole's really not happy. However, Finn does thank Cole for his help along with Davina. He said he had glimpses of their always and forever, and before he can, basically it's saying that Cole and Davina are meant to be together forever, as we know that's what always and forever means, and before he could continue, he begins coughing up blood. His siblings rush to him. Freya says his body is dying. Klaus says it's impossible, he cured him. Cole says there's no use. Klaus demands him to get Davina back, but Finn declines. Frey and Elijah tell the dying Finn that they are with him as Cole looks away. Finn finally passes, and everyone in the family is emotional, and even Cole shed a tear for his brother, and Finn is now dead, which it's crazy. It really is crazy. I mean, yes, Finn is back for 2 episodes, but it felt more than 2 episodes. I mean, this was Finn's final goodbye. That's why they brought him back. He was there to finally say goodbye. He was there to properly close his arc, and I definitely love the way this was done. Is this the end of Finn? No, I feel like he could always come back, like in flashbacks or something, but Finn is definitely dead. He's not coming back. It was a very hard scene to watch, definitely, and I was surprised by how affected I really was by it, but I think the originals, they just do a great job with emotion, because this is a family, and even though we've only seen Finn in his actual body for 2 episodes on the show, you do get that sense that they understand that they can trust him, and that he is part of their family, and that, they love him and things like that. It's a very powerful scene. We see Elijah, Cole, and Klaus and Finn. They scatter Finn's ashes with, Freya. They scatter Finn's ashes with their own final words. And I like that Cole actually did feel, sympathy. He actually did feel bad for Finn. He actually, gave his condolences, was very sad, but Klaus is the final sibling to speak and basically lets Finn know that he will in fact avenge his death, which we know that he definitely is going after Lucien. We know that Lucien's definitely coming after them, without a doubt. He basically told them he's going after them. Vincent then visits Davina, and basically now we know that Finn's going to be avenged, and then we get this great scene with Vincent that I absolutely love, because you guys know my biggest question for these past few episodes has been, because I've really been questioning, where do Vincent's loyalties lie, because he's been with Davina, he's been with with the originals, he's really been playing both sides, but I think this scene really confirms where Vincent's loyalties really lie. And the reason I loved what they do with Vincent in this episode is because it finally gets him to admit it, because we know that he hasn't been really using magic a lot, and basically he was forced to use magic, and because of that, that's why he makes the decision he does make. Vincent visits Davina, and he's surprised that she wants to see him because they haven't talked in a while, and we know that things weren't really great between them. She says she needs his help, but he says he isn't sure he can. Davina says Cole's blood is filled with their magic. She says they couldn't get to him, so they're making him lose control, and Vincent says that he used to respect the ancestors, but the more he sees how they use people, the more he realizes that they have to be stopped, and he says it's going to be on the two of them to do it. A very powerful scene. It basically says that these two are going to work together. They're going to try to wipe out the originals. They're going to try to get rid of them in any way they can. He doesn't trust them anymore, and it's just a really big 180 for Vincent, because he's always kind of been on their side, and now he's not, and I like seeing that, because finally we know this is where his loyalties lie. This is the thing I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see really where his loyalties are. We now know where they are. There's no questioning. I love the way that scene was done. Amazing stuff overall, and I love that Davina and Vincent are now working together. Marcel, on the other hand, I mean, he's definitely working with the Strix. We didn't see Marcel in this episode, but things between Davina and Marcel, as we know, are very awkward right now. Their relationship is very strained because he didn't let her do what he didn't support what she wanted to do. He kind of just abandoned her, and I don't know really what's going to happen there. I feel like Marcel's on their side, but we know that he's also involved in the Strix, and when you're in the Strix, you're there for life, and Josh wants to be there as well. So I'm assuming since Josh is there, maybe he's on Davina's side. I don't really know. We didn't see Marcel, but you can definitely tell that they're going to try to wipe out the originals. They definitely want to do that, besides Cole, obviously. But definitely it's very interesting. I like that these two are teaming up, and I like that we now know where his loyalties are. So then we get the final scene. Klaus tells Elijah that Lucien did all this to become an original, but he's not sure what they are against, because obviously he wanted to become an original. What does that really mean for them? I mean, they're an original too, so what does that really mean? Haley returns and says Lucien wasn't trying to find a cure for werewolf venom. He was trying to create a more lethal strain, which that is even worse than what was going on, because we thought he was trying to find this cure, and that's not what he was doing. He's trying to make it even worse, so that way all the werewolves die, and Freya said that Lucien was looking to be more powerful. He has the venom of 7 packs within him. Freya believes that Lucien only drinking half of the mixture could mean the spell would wear off. However, Klaus realizes that the second batch has to be for Aurora, and as we know, Klaus did not kill Aurora. We know that, and he's assuming that, the final batch is for Aurora, Lucien's love, as we know he loved her, and then that is confirmed because Klaus and Elijah, they visit Aurora's tomb, and then she is missing, and that is how the episode ends, and I cannot wait for next week's episode. What a way to end the episode. I absolutely love the way absolutely loved everything about this episode. Like I said, we're finally starting to get things moving. It feels like we have all season, but it did feel like we slowed down, but now it's really made sense, because Tristan and Aurora were distractions. Cortez was a distraction. All of them were distractions to the bigger plan. We know ever since the mid-season finale, Lucien and Aurora were talking about something. We never knew what it was, and now we finally know that these two are working together, and that Lucien wants to be more powerful than Klaus, and it looks like next week that Klaus can't kill Lucien. Even though he wants to, he can't kill him. He's gonna have to find a way to make a fate worse than death, and we'll have to see what that is, because we see in the promo that Klaus says straight out he can't kill Lucien, which is crazy. I mean, this is Klaus we're talking about. He can't kill Lucien, and that's gonna be crazy to see what happens there. Really crazy stuff, though, but a really amazing episode. I love the way this was done. But Aurora's back and Lucien's back. How is Aurora going to complicate things? Because clearly Aurora, I think she isn't going to be on Lucien's side, obviously. She's going to ally with him. But what is she going to use against them? We'll have to see. I mean, knowing how powerful Aurora and Lucien can be together, that's going to be crazy to see. I don't know what's going to happen. I really can't predict what's going to happen there, because it's going to be insane. I'm still shocked that Aurora's coming back, but I'm very happy she's coming back. I always said that they do, what I loved about her death is that they did save, about, Klaus burying her, is that they did leave room for her to come back if they need her to, and they absolutely, that was the plan all along, was for her to come back. She never died. Lucien and her, they are going to take over. It's going to be crazy to see what happens there, but I don't know what's going to happen. Is Klaus going to be able to avenge Finn's death? I mean, obviously he promised him he would, but can he really, if he can't take down Lucien, then how can he really avenge his brother's death? I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen there. We'll have to see. That's going to be very interesting. This whole situation with the wolves, what are they going to do about it? Obviously, obviously Lucien just wants to wipe out all the wolves, so again, he can be more powerful because he wants their blood, and we'll have to see what happens there. That's going to be crazy. What Lucien wants is almost virtually impossible, but the way he's been pulling it off, you can definitely tell that he's trying to pull this off as best as he can, and it seems like he really does have everything he needs to pull this off, and it really is crazy. I can't wait to see what happens there, but like I said, it really does seem like he is very close to pulling this off, and we'll have to see what happens with that, because that's going to be very interesting, definitely. As far as Vincent and Davina go, who else are they going to get? Because obviously they have this plan now to take out the originals. We'll have to see what happens there. What's going on with Cole? Obviously, Cole says he's not himself. He doesn't feel like himself. What's happening with that? We don't really know. That's going to be very interesting as well. I can't wait to see what's going on with Cole, because there clearly is something going on with him. He's not himself. He doesn't feel like himself. There has to be a reason why he is the way he is, and we don't really know what's going to happen there. That's going to be interesting. I like that, basically, you know, Finn did prove himself. Obviously, Finn's dead now, but he did prove himself, and I love the way that that was done. That was really amazing to see, and I love that everyone's now finally getting involved. Like, they're really just waking up and realizing that Lucien is a threat. There's no one being stupid and not realizing he's a threat. The Vampire Diaries, that's what would happen. They would basically, here's what I love that the originals doing, the Vampire Diaries isn't doing. The originals is being smart. They're making smart decisions. They're realizing things. There's no, we know something that the characters don't. We didn't know anything that they didn't, and I love the way that they did this. The Vampire Diaries, it would be, we know all this information, but they don't, and they're gonna be stupid and not realize what's actually at stake. And it really seemed like this episode, they know what's going on, they know who's after them. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. But overall, guys, amazing episode. Probably my favorite episode of the season if I had to pick one. I mean, this episode was incredible. I love the way it was done. I love the dynamic. It seems like everyone's back together now. Cammy looks like she's back next week. I can't wait to see what happens there. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Absolutely loved this episode. And if you guys are looking for my Outlander review, I already reviewed Outlander on Thursday. You guys can look for my review there. It should be up, and I will see you. And so check that out if you guys are looking for, if you guys are looking for that. But I will see you guys in my next year, which will be for a movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.